Chuck, first of all, man, I want to say thank you for giving me a couple minutes of your time.
Absolutely.
And welcome to Over a Drink, brother. Now, normally we toast and then we sip. I've been hanging out with cats from your shop and nobody drinks, man, including you. So,
Yeah.
enough of the healthy drinks for me, man. I'm going in with a little bit of goose. You get ahead and get the little protein drink in there so you ready for the gym later on.
It gives me that energy.
Okay, so it's okay. Let's give me energy too, man. Yeah, I watch your social media and I see everything like, dude, you're a camera fiend. You're a camera fiend. Like me, it was a job.
Right.
It looks like it was a hobby that you turned into a job.
I used to take 2 VCRs, and then I would record like the sports segment of like the local news broadcast, and I would make my own highlights with 2 VCRs. Don't ask me how I was doing it.
And you were editing between the two VCRs,
and then I would throw some music under it and have like music going.
You've been next level with it for a long time.
Yeah.
Like me. Dude, I was like, I need a job, man. Y'all hiring?
Right.
Cat was like, you know how to shoot? Said I shot in college. I have resume reel. The first, I'd have nothing, man. He handed me a camera, gave me a go. Yes. And I just been here ever since, man. You've been on the overnight, graveyard.
Yes, sir.
12 midnight to 8 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
11 to 7 in the morning, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen you in the summer. And we inside like vampires.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit though, man, about that shift though, man, because you see some of the grimiest stuff, I guess, that TV gets.
There's a lot that goes on in the middle of the night. Accidents, fires, homicides, crime scenes. I see some crazy stuff. The one that stands out the most to me is me and at that time it was me. It was 2 photogs in 1 van. They did that for a safety reason. So we were driving down Kensington Avenue in Kensington. We were under the L tracks, and we hear this pop, 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 pop. Just startled me. So I'm in the passenger seat and I jumped, and because the pops were so loud, and then I look up, and there was a guy chasing another guy from the row home area into Kensington Avenue, like coming towards us, and he was firing a weapon at the other guy.
But in your direction.
In our direction. So we're driving like north on Kensington Avenue. They're running towards our van.
Yeah.
And then I just remember the shooter, just standing over him. It was like a movie. He just unloaded the weapon. So my partner at the time, Rich, was like, "What should we do? What should we do?" Well, we call 911. I put that call in. Police from all over came, swarmed the van. They thought that we were being shot at.
Gotcha.
So they all kind of swarmed. They were like, no. There's a guy there's a guy in the street. The shooter could have, I don't know. I think it was our van that kind of startled him.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was no other cars driving.
Yeah.
And I mean, he could have easily just been like, pop, 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 pop at us.
Correct. And you went right back in the next day, didn't you? Like,
Nah, man. I took a couple of days off, man. I was like, phew.
You're constantly showing up on crime scene after crime scene after crime scene. We live in a city where gunplay is just like, it's just a normal occurrence.
Right.
And you work on the shift where a bulk of it happens.
Mm-hmm. This former shooter was telling me, he's like, you might need to get checked for, post-trauma, distress and all that. And, I don't know. I just kind of, I think when I first got into the business and I had to do like my first fatal car accident, like that, like tripped me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first homicide scene, seeing the body laying there with no sheet on the body, like that trips me out. And even today, like if I am at a crime scene, the dead person's there on the sidewalk and then their cell phone rings. And that person is never going to answer that cell phone again. Like that's spooky to me. But
dude, that actually is pretty trippy, man.
Yeah.
Because you thinking like, I mean, does the person on the other line know he's dead? Or do they just know that there's a problem? Or they just
right.
calling to say what's up?
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? And you standing there shooting them,
Right.
and this dude's phone is ringing. Ain't nobody at the end of that line no more, man.
Right. It's tough, like when you're doing those stories like that, and then like family shows up, and then you don't know if it's going to be like they're going to retaliate against you. They don't want no cameras there. In situations like that, I'd be real, respectful and try not to throw the camera down somebody's face or whatever. I just try to be real discreet what I do.
Well, it's like you kind of learn to finesse
Right.
the situations. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're out there. You know that this is a bad time for this family.
Right.
But you know you got a job to do.
Got a job to do. Right.
You know what I mean? So you try to move in a manner where you almost try to be invisible. You don't know that the first time you go out to a homicide scene.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? First time you go out there, throw that light on, boom, and just light up the whole street. Just light up the whole street, and everybody looking at you,
Yep.
and you thinking to yourself, man, I don't know what I did, but I just did something wrong. Over time, you learn to finesse the cops. You learn to finesse the families. You learn to finesse how you approach the scenes even.
When I'm doing a story where it involves a kid, like a kid gets hit by a car and the driver drives off, or a parent that's abusing the kid, like that really gets me. And that really will, upset me. Me being a father, like that's really hard.
Those are tough ones, man.
Right.
They sit with you. My wife brought it up one time, and she was like, "Mike, I remember the first time you came home and you see a body bag with a baby in it." She said, and it bugged you out because it was like a little bag.
Right.
Like they didn't use a full size normal. You know what I'm saying? Like so, the cop came out holding the baby in this little body bag. And again, I was a new dad. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, that baby ain't no bigger than my baby. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And when you see that for the first time, it's different when you're on the other side of the screen and you see that. You know what I'm saying? But when you're right there, and you hear how silent the atmosphere is, you know what I'm saying? And or like a wail from a family member as they see this bag coming out the house or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's piercing, man. Like it like gets in your soul, man.
Oh,
and, and those are the ones that are probably the hardest to shake, the hardest to clear your head of. And you know what I mean? And so the fact that you choose to do this for 15 years on this overnight, you a different breed, man.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I think part of it is, I get my weekends off.
Do you ever wake up and be like, listen, man, all right, man. I'm done with the I'm gonna go in here, but
I don't know if I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm literally getting burned out. I've been getting burned out. It's the day in, day out. Practically every day I'm doing a fire, shooting, a crime scene. So yeah, that takes a toll and that burns you out, and there's no creativity in there when you're doing like VOs on both sides. There's really no creativity in doing something like that.
Pointing and shooting.
Right. So, all that creativity stuff is solely what I do on the side.
Got you. You mentioned the fact that you're getting burned out, right? And I don't want to harp on it, but it's just what we do. Whether you're on that overnight, whether you're on a 10 to 6, because it's the crime and the sensational stuff is what sells.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what we gotta cover it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So cats that don't work that shift get burned out. You know what I mean? Cats that work a regular 10 to 6 get burned out. But when you're in a slot where you never see the sunshine, 15 years in the dark is a long time, man. Like they owe you something.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but 15 years, you know how hard it is to fill that shift? And they didn't have to think about it for 15 years.
Right.
When you go in on Monday, ask for something. I don't know what. And every night, regular, doing it, man.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing, man. And in a rough city, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It ain't like work, man. Not the kids.
Man.
Not the kids, Chuck. I don't want to be.
There have been times throughout the year, well, they'll need help on the weekends. So I'll come in on like a Saturday, and it's so different. And I'm like sitting in traffic, you know. I'm like, man, like where am I gonna park at?
So on the overnight, you go wherever you want, park wherever you want. Nobody's in your way.
Right.
But you got to see the grimiest, dirtiest.
Right.
You know, the worst of the worst.
A lot of people always ask me, you know, what's it like to be a news photographer?
Well, I already know the answer.
I get
but
asked
if you want to answer, answer it, go right ahead. I kind of know the answer.
Right.
You know, I'm just curious, like, what's it like to be stuck on overnights for 15 years? Like, is that I don't know the answer.
To be truth be told, I've been asked by the former chief, Louis.
Yeah.
So he asked me several times before he retired. Hey Chuck, you wanna come off the overnight? That's what he was saying. And I mean, he would ask me several times a year. I was like, nah, man, I'm good.
He probably couldn't believe it. And the upside to it is you got all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You do got your boy. You got all day to spend with your boy. And you can kick it with him at lunchtime. You kick it with him at dinner time. You don't have to raise a latchkey kid. You know what I'm saying? There's value in that. It's nice to be for them to walk into that house and know you there, or you meet him at the bus stop, or you can run him to their after school stuff. You can make it to all their events and so forth. Because there's a lot of cats that work at 3 to 11 and never see their kids.
That's true. Just being able to do something like that. I mean, I think that just makes, you know, he loves it.
Yeah, and that's your therapy, man. You may not have thought about it that way, but that is your therapy, man. To be able to completely go 180 degrees in the other direction once you leave that, man. Well, listen, Chuck, man. Thank you for your time, brother. I appreciate you kicking it with me, man. You know what I mean? I'm going to call somebody over there at ABC, see if we could, I don't know, get you a substitute or something, man. I don't know, man. But yeah, man, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate kicking it with again, man. And anytime I see you in the street, man, it's always a pleasure to see your face. And you are always smiling. So it ain't that bad.
Right.
It ain't that bad.